back to the channel. Here's the 350Z. I know a lot of you guys were wondering what happened to it. Well, here she is. We're going to get started on it. You guys remember, we have completely built this car already. Everything is in place exactly where it needs to be. All of our gaps are good, our body lines line up, the tail lights fit, the bumper fits, trunk lid fits, everything is really good on it. So we're going to get in there and start welding everything together. We've got everything screwed together with sheet metal screws. Now we could get in there now that everything lines up and actually start the welding process. I'm going to start by putting the frame rail in first. I'm going to use all of this sheet metal to know exactly where that frame rail needs to go because it lines up with all of these bolt holes. These are the bolt holes that actually hold the rebar on, which is what goes underneath the actual bumper cover. So all this lines up perfectly. We're good to go. I'm gonna start welding. This is our frame rail here. This is what I'm talking about. We know exactly where it goes now because we can line it up with the bolt holes. We've got all of our weld through primer in place. And now all we got to do is just start welding. Okay, the frame rail is in now, and notice anything missing? All those holes. I went ahead and welded them shut. That way when I lay the floor back in, we'll have something to weld to. Okay, this is what I'm talking about right here. Put the corner piece back in. It lays right on top of that frame rail, and see now that we got all of our holes welded shut on the frame rail itself, now we got something to weld to. This piece goes in first, and then the rest of the floor pan lays on top of it. So we got to go everything kind of in the reverse order. And as you can see, my little screw holes here are lining up. One here, one over here. I'm going to put the screws back in, and this will be in the same exact place it was when we mocked it up. Remember, we already mocked all this up. Everything fits perfectly. All we got to do is screw it back together in those same screw holes, and we're set. Alright, so we've got our corner piece welded in. There's a lot of welding went on in that corner. There's a lot of pieces that meet up together right there. Frame rail, another piece of the floor, the corner, you know, these two corners coming together with the quarter panel, the rear pan, the taillight pocket, it all comes together right here. So there's a lot of welding went on in that corner, but it's done. Frame rail's in, our corner piece is in. Now we're going to get in there and put the actual trunk floor in, which will lay right on top of all of this. But before we do that, you want to blow all these metal shavings out. You don't want to trap metal shavings down inside these cavities. They'll turn into rust like instantly, and then it'll etch itself into that rail, and you don't want that. So let's clean everything up, get our weld through primer in place, and then we'll continue on welding. Alright, I'm going to take this opportunity while the piece is out. This is our trunk floor. Go through and kind of fix up some of our edges. You can see here, you know, that's messed up. That's going to need to get flattened out. I'm just going to use this as a dolly to stick on the back side. We'll come through here and just kind of straighten some of this up. Some of it might need a little grinding. We'll get rid of this old seam seal, stuff like that. We're going to work it down. All these where the spot welds are, we're going to grind down to the bare metal and then go back with some weld through primer, and we'll be good to go after that. All right, so I went through and kind of cleaned up the bottom side of this thing, got the seam seal, all the factory seam seal out of the way. Now we're going to go through with our weld-through primer and spray the whole back side of this. And we'll also spray the mounting surface that this is going to lay on, all those frame rails and everything like that. We'll also need a good layer of this. Kind of going through and getting some of this sound deadening off of here. As you can see, my welds are right up next to it, so if I leave all that on there, it's just going to catch fire, turn into a big mess. Might as well get it off now while it's out here where it's easy to work on, you know. Comes off pretty easy. And we'll be putting some more of this back on when we're done, so. All right, we got ourselves a little mess, but hey, we got all that sound deadening off for the most part. Everything that was around all of our welds out of the way, so now we don't have to sit and smell that while it's burning and making a big mess. It'll also help us get good contact, so our welds will go a lot smoother, less spatter, which is important when you're welding inside of the trunk of a car. You don't want things splattering around all over the place. That's how fires get started. So you want things to be clean as possible. You don't want contaminants in your welds, you know, that causes weak welds and things like that. So that's why we got all that out of the way. As I showed a second ago, we got all that weld through primer in place. So we're going to drop this floor pan in and get started welding her up. So we're going to take a little break from the welding for a minute. I'm going to run up the driveway here. Randy's on his way with the Audi. Randy from Auto Auction Rebuilds. If you guys don't know him, go check him out. Good channel over there. He's bringing the Audi down here. As most of you know, the city of Del City's coming down on him. They won't let him store cars at his shop. So, hey, whatever. We got plenty of room down here. So he's going to bring that on down here. I thought it'd be kind of cool to get a little footage of the Harley truck putting in work. He's using it to tow it down here. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll get up here and give him a hand right quick, and then we'll get back to welding. Here comes that Harley truck putting in work. What's going on? A little light towing. Slow. Whoa. Ah! Alright, that was interesting. Look like a bunch of friggin' amateurs out there. Good thing we don't know a tow company. Anyway, back to welding. We'll get this thing done now. All we got to do is get this to line up with our holes, which look at there, fell right into place. We'll go through, put our screws back in it, get it exactly where it was before, because remember, where it was before was right on. Get it right where it was before, and we can start welding again. You guys, I cannot tell you how happy I am with how this is turning out. It's all just falling back together. Everything is lining up just perfectly. I mean, you literally just have to just sit the piece in there, and there it is. Really cool build. This car wants to live again. I mean, it literally just falls back together every time we mess with it. So this is cool, man. Very happy with it. So there it is, guys. We've got it in. Okay. As you can see, look, we've got a good spot to weld to underneath all these holes, okay, all the way around. So it's gonna be super easy to weld. Time consuming, yes, but easy nonetheless. Since I went through and filled all the holes in underneath on the frame rail, which is what's right underneath there, now we've got a good solid surface to weld to. And if we have to, we'll go through here and we'll add a few screws here and there, because we want to make sure that the panels all fit very nice and tight to each other. You can kind of see here how there's a little space between this and the panel underneath. Well, we'll just go through and add a few screws here and there and suck this thing down tight. Then we'll go through and do our welding. You can kind of see a spot there where the panels are just a little bit too far apart. We'll suck that together with some more sheet metal screws before we actually start welding. But it fits great. It's all in there. It's all nice. All we got to do is just a ton of welding. That's okay. What I'll usually do is keep me an air hose ready. Kind of go through and cool it off as I go here and there. Don't want it to get too hot. You want to kind of skip around as usual, things like that. Very, very thin, super easy to warp. If you get crazy and just start going in a row and doing these welds, this thing will be a mess. So you want to kind of keep it cool, keep an eye on the temperature, don't let it get too hot in one area, and just skip around. Alright you guys, I think we're going to stop the video there. When we come back on the next episode, I'll probably have all this welded up and we can move on to the next process. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to bore you guys with every little weld on this thing. I seriously doubt y'all want to see every weld. I mean, seriously. So I'll just keep going along. It's a slow process, easy but slow, time consuming. I'll just keep plugging away at it till it's done. We got a lot of welds to go. So I'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe, and check me out on Instagram. Really do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot.